And then the last one we have is from a Kunik member who's great and had unfortunately a last minute meeting scheduled during this. But she asked if we could ask you about how to handle sleep disturbances, like fighting bedtime and night
Mm,
wakings. And we did talk about this a little bit, but she's saying it's due to anxiety around the pandemic and her kids who are just around 3 years old.
yeah. So what I would say is at this age, it's really, really helpful to give children a few things. It's helpful to give them a little bit of power around their bedtime routine. So I like to incorporate, a lot of times it's called monster spray, but we can call it happy sleep spray or, fairy sleep spray. But essentially you use any sort of empty water bottle, fill it. You can put some glitter in it. You can, put some food coloring in it if you want, maybe a lavender essential oil, and you have them spray the room for happy sleep spray before bed.
Love this idea.
Um, and that kind of is like, oh, they are in control of creating the bedtime. And then the anxiety piece, I would really encourage any sort of books about like fears and anxieties. And so there are lots of books, not specifically about the pandemic, but just kind of like that anxiety of nighttime. Um, Orion in the Dark is a good one. There are a few. I have actually a list of books for fears that
Okay.
are helpful, that don't necessarily address specific fears, but just the idea of like nighttime and some anxieties that go around that, because that can really happen in age 2, 3, 4, and then lead to some sleep disturbances. Um, so the other thing you can do is create a sort of personalized book about bedtime and overnight with the
Mm.
child, so that they it's literally a picture of the child going through their bedtime routine and then laying in their bed and having wonderful dreams, and then mom and dad are laying in their beds having wonderful dreams, and then everybody wakes up in the morning and they're all happy. um, so that like role playing, but also seeing themselves in that situation, and seeing that everything's going to be okay overnight. That's a big
Hmm.
one. And then if they're fighting and they're having night wakings, um, I always like to incorporate sort of a behavior chart sort of thing. So it's like a chore chart, but it's really about bedtime. So it's again, it's
Hmm.
everything in the bedtime routine. And then they can they need to visualize things, because they aren't able to comprehend in other ways at this age. So like getting a star for not fighting at bedtime. Well, use simple things, brushing teeth, getting into bed quietly, whatever it is. And then I would add, fighting but not fighting bedtime. And then with the night wakings, that would be on there, like sleeps quiet, stays quietly in bed all night. That's when I would also incorporate a hatch baby rest, where the rest actually gives a signal of when it's okay to call out for mom and dad. So that would go on the
Okay.
chart, and it would be like, waited until light to call out to mom and dad. So ways to sort of keep the boundaries, but also then empower the child with the spray. And you can also have the child put their animals or stuffed animals or um, dolls to sleep, and sort of
Hmm.
mimic that nighttime routine for them as well. And that often works pretty well with children that age.